It's time for another episode of Trash to Cash. In episode 1, I got a free wooden corner unit from Facebook Marketplace and I upcycled it to turn it into a gaming unit. That went on to sell for £50. In episode 2, I got a free chair from Facebook Marketplace and I turned that into a garden planter. That thankfully went on to sell for £30. It was actually my mum who brought it, so that was a nice easy sell for me and a pretty decent profit too. And as you can see next to me here, these are going to be the subject for this episode. These are IKEA HELMER drawers and I paid £10 for these, again, off Facebook Marketplace. They need some work doing to them, but I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I really want to try something a little bit different with these drawers, so my plan is to turn them into a waterfall. So how I'm thinking that the waterfall will work will be from each drawer dropping further down. My initial thought was to use all of the drawers, but I actually think it's going to look better just using 3. I think the 3 offers a nice drop. You've got 2 drops of water, but then you can also still see the regular drawer front itself, so I think it'll blend in nicely. Oh, there is one issue though. The drawers are full of holes. These holes aren't obviously an ideal situation when you want them to be holding water, but this isn't anything that silicone sealer can't fix. Before I start applying any silicone sealer though, I want to first get rid of the rattle at the back. The back to the drawers are pretty loose. And to fix that, I'm going to bend over the tabs, squeeze them in place with a pair of pliers and just go around the edge, bending over all the metal to make this back joint nice and tight. And after doing that, that should have fixed that rattle. So I've got the backs crimped in place and I've given all the joints a wipe down just to clean them a little bit, and they're fully dried now. So I can apply some silicone. Now the silicone I'm going to be using is designed for weatherproofing. It's for like extreme repairs and stuff like that, so it should be ideal for this application. And to smooth it all out, I'm just going to dip my finger in a bit of water, shake off the excess, and it should smooth out nicely. This hasn't got to win any beauty competitions. I just need to make sure it's sealed. You'll never see these bits anyway. So the silicone is near enough dry, but I'm going to add another coat. But before I do that, I'm also going to start cutting the hole in the front for where the water needs to come out. There is currently a handle and a space to add a label. I'm going to kind of ignore that. I'm going to remove the screws that I'm holding the handle in place. This masking tape will help me see the lines, but it should also help me cut cleaner with the jigsaw. We need an entry point for the jigsaw, so I'll be doing that just by drilling a hole. And I'll use the existing holes that was fitted for the handles. Now I can get this cut out using a jigsaw and a metal blade. I've also got this set to the slowest setting. With the lines cut, I can now carefully bend it into place. I've got to be careful though, because there's a lot of burr on the metal, and I definitely don't want to cut my hands. Now we just need to deal with all these sharp edges. The burrs where I drilled through really am quite sharp. Plus, when the water's flowing, it's naturally going to head for these holes. So I'm going to bend these over, just using a pair of pliers, and it will hopefully give it a bit of a track to follow. This way it should act a bit more like a spout. The water will follow this groove, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a bead of silicone along either side. It'll cover up these holes, hopefully cover up all these burrs as well, just to give a nicer edge, and it should make the water flow a lot better. But before I start messing around with silicone again, I first need to drill a hole in the back of the top drawer. That's where the pipe will go through from the pump. This is the tubing that I got with the pump. It's a little bit too big for the hole that I've drilled, but I haven't got a different drill bit unfortunately. So I'm just going to fold it over to pinch the end in a little bit. Then I should be able to thread it through. Try not to cut it with the metal around it. Feed it through. That should be in enough. Now we'll be able to silicone sealer around that now, and that'll hold it in place and it should make it watertight. So it's the next morning now. The silicone on the drawers is fully dried and that's cured, so I'm ready to go into the main housing. But before we do that, I'm going to get the wheels taken off. Doesn't need them to be outside, and one's already broken, so it's best just to remove them. So with the wheels taken off now, we can start assembling it all. We've got 3 drawers that aren't sealed for water and 3 drawers that are. So we'll start putting the top one in because that's what's got the tube attached. Next we can slide in a drawer that isn't sealed, and this is going at the very bottom. This one we could maybe put some bricks or some concrete to weigh it down if it ends up tipping over. If it's fine as it is, it can just be left bare. Now the second from bottom drawer has been sealed with silicone, but it hasn't got a spout at the front. This one is going to be the collection and what will recirculate the water, and I'll do that with a simple pump. This has got some sticky feet and that'll attach right at the back. Stick it in place with suction cups. That's nice and secure, and we can get the pipe attached to the top. Before we attach the pipe though, I'm going to first thread through the power cord, and that'll just poke out from the back of the actual unit. And as well, as you can see, the tubing is way longer than we actually need it. So I'm going to cut it to a rough size, just so we haven't got too much excess knocking around in the back of the unit. Then this pipe can just get pushed on to the spout at the top. And that drawer can be slid into place. The next drawer to add is just a regular one. Change of plan. I'm going to have to attach the actual pump to the side of the drawer instead, just to give room for this other drawer. Then next we've got another one that's been sealed for water, and it's got a spout on it. And lastly, a regular drawer. Now the spacings of these are going to determine really how much the water flows out. So I'm going to have to test that. So let's get it filled up with water and see how it works. Now you can see with that the pressure of the water was really overthrowing each of the drawers, but that's the pressure of the hose pipe. So I'm going to get the pump plugged in. Now that it's got some water to circulate, then we'll see how it's looking. Right, so I've moved the drawers around a little bit. Let's try it with the pump on. So that's the waterfall done. What do you think of it? I know it's not going to suit every garden, but if you've got like a modern minimalistic look, I think it'll fit in perfectly. And if you've got more of a cottage look to your garden, then maybe an old chest of drawers turned into a waterfall could work well too. You could line the drawers with pond liner. It'll work in the same way, but it'll have more of that old quaint cottage look to it. Let me know in the comments down below if you're going to give this a go for yourself. If you do, tag us on social media so I can see when you post pictures and stuff, because I'd love to see what you do with this idea. I haven't seen it before, but maybe there's a reason I haven't seen it before. Let me know what you think down below. So far in the Trash to Cash series, we're £68.65 into profit, and that's a great amount for the charity. Hopefully we can add to the amount with this one. Fingers crossed we get a decent price for it. This is episode 3 in the Trash to Cash series, and we've got more on the way. So make sure you click subscribe and click the little bell icon next to it to get notifications. That way, as soon as you upload a new video, you'll be sure to know about it. Thank you all for watching.